Modeled after several successful farm projects in Switzerland, community-supported agriculture was founded in 1985 in South Egremont, Massachusetts. Within a year, a core group was organized, an appropriate garden site selected, and a gardener employed. 30 families now receive seasonal organic vegetables and herbs twice a week, and with an additional 30 will receive winter root crops every 2 weeks from November to March. This year's production budget, divided equally among consumer shareholders, comes to approximately $21,000, or $560 a full share, and $140 for winter crops. All anticipated labor was calculated at $7 an hour. The CSA contract provides for a 12% overrun. Volunteers are welcome, and shareholders are asked to work for 2 days a year.
We had a flock of wild geese out here last night, and then I didn't know if they'd be here this morning or not. That would have been pretty. Be gentle with the kitten. No, it's not. I'd come back to the area here in Massachusetts to be back in the seasons, and got looking around and then found this farm. And then it was just such a nice, pretty farm, and I was afraid of driving by a month later and seeing it all subdivided. And I mean, it was a big thing to take on or just to even stick my neck out on, but just decided to do it anyhow because it could be gone so easily. And got in here, and so it's like a 55-acre farm that had been a dairy farm for 37 years, so nicely maintained, or never really abused with chemicals or anything, and just got into it that way. Plastic jugs so everybody can throw them out around here, because you can, I hate just throwing them away, but you can put those in.
I first heard of the project last year when the core group was already formed. They were already set on going ahead, but they didn't have a gardener. And I was approached, and it seemed like a worthwhile project to me, so I said that I would at least help them get going. That was last year. So at that time, this plot of land here, which was what was available, was pretty much all covered with weeds. And so last fall, I had to mow, plow, disc, and then raise the beds up. I think there's about 180 raised beds here. And then started cultivating it, started planting this year.
Well, I'm just the assistant gardener to Hugh. Robyn and I share that task. And we split our time and we help out where we can, when we can. I'm here most every day. We harvest, as I guess you know, both on Tuesdays and Fridays. And we get out here as early as we can in the morning, and we harvest the leafy stuff first, get it in the shade, water it down, and then we pick the other root crops and the other crops.
Has the parsley been tied yet?
No. Think these kids need to be kept fresh too? No? You do? We try to get done by 10:30 or so, and then we come up to the little shed here, the tractor shed, which we convert every Tuesday and every Friday into sort of a packaging and distributing shed. And there we package up the foods and deal them out to the individual families. And
You said 34, right?
Yeah.
You did?
Yeah.
You finished it today?
Yeah, I'm official now.
Are you official? Do you have to take a med test?
So barely employed person is out.
Do you turn this in again?
Is it Dana?
Yeah, that's right. Do you have an empty case there?
17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33. 7, 8, 9 halves.
Yeah, okay.
those who have chosen to come by right here to the shed, they pick up right here in place. It's convenient for some, and for those to whom it is not convenient, we load them up either into my truck or else into somebody else's car, and we take that produce to the co-op market, which is in Great Barrington. And there, a number of the shareholders pick up the produce.
Sunday, you know that?
The
Yep.
girlfriend staying at the house with the others. Have it? Leave don't tell you, are there any more in the truck? I think that's it then.
What it turns out to be is the full share for produce for I guess it's 43 weeks out of the year that we provide produce. It works out to $13 a week, which for a big grocery bag like this is $6.50 a bag, and that's, you know, I mean, you get lettuce all week long and a whole variety of vegetables, and it's still with everyone getting a $7 an hour wage. The food is virtually paid for up front rather than, you know, harvesting it all and taking it to market, and then I don't even know the statistic for the amount of waste that goes on in this country for marketing and the produce that does just get thrown away and doesn't even go to compost, you know, where you can put it back in the land again another way.
Well, there's two aspects, I think. On the one hand, it creates a situation where I can start cultivating the land in the way which I think is right. We cultivate it biodynamically without having to think too much about marketing. I don't have to go around to restaurants selling my produce. That's all taken care of. I mean, the other aspect of it is that yeah, I do think it's a sound idea economically.
One of the primary activities of the group is the preparation and construction of a root cellar to store this season's winter crops in the former dairy barn.
Yeah, that's easy. That's you not bad. That's coming loose. See, one more. See, all that's crumbling away.
Oh, I see. That's coming away.
Yeah. See, that's really coming. Attaboy, you get
I'm
that.
getting it off now.
Coming down. That's coming. That other one's coming too.
Yeah. I'll try to get it off this. See, that's what it is.
Yeah, now you got it.
Back in about '82, I went to Switzerland and started checking out the concept that's going in Geneva. I was real excited because it seemed to fit all the ideals that I had ever, had for agriculture. And the idea is to get a group of people to support a gardener and the production of vegetables. Basically, what we've done here is to get 30 families or households to come together and pay a budget that we put together and to agree to a proposal that we had set out in the community in different places. That group, that 30 families, they're not asked to come and work in the garden except for volunteer if they like, but they're primarily asked to take the risk with the gardener and to pay all the costs and the needs of the person doing the work for them, producing their food.
Berkshire Village is an anthroposophical community for handicapped adults. We're basically all volunteers. We all have the same status within Berkshire Village, the handicapped adult and the co-workers.
Chris, you should take the wagon over before it gets too full.
We live together and work together as in-family household units. And we're supported entirely by contributions. So we're totally independent of the state.
Oh, Tony, you're missing some.
Oh, yeah.
So I felt that it would be a wonderful way to get the villagers involved in something which was then really worthwhile. Nothing to do with making work for them, rather being involved in a community service and an activity which they're capable of doing and which is really of economic value. And we made an arrangement for Berkshire Village whereby the garden gives Berkshire Village the shares that it needs in exchange for the work. It works wonderfully. It's absolutely wonderful. It really is, because the garden isn't really dependent on our labor, but it's really calculated into the whole picture. There's the real need for what we do.
Well, on the one hand, there are difficulties associated with opening up land for the first time, but that's always there. I would say the difficulties are also the strengths, because it's the people, the working together with people. There's a lot of people somehow involved in this project, and one has to work or learn to work harmoniously together. And of course, there's a lot to be gained from that, and also, sometimes it's a difficult task, but maybe that's the most important task of all, is to learn to work with each other.
Heat up the soil.
We really do firmly believe as a group that the farmer should be compensated certainly as much as other members of our society who contribute to its benefit. Well, the obvious problems associated with this kind of farming are that it requires an immense amount of dedication and time. We're not using those pesticides and herbicides which make life a lot easier for the farmer. But by the same token, we know that in return that the children and the people who are eating our food are getting truly wholesome food. Truly wholesome food. I think there really are no problems. It's just a question of making a choice in one's life as to what one wants to do with one's time.
Well, we don't know of another project like this in the States. And so it's really exciting to have this going here and to be the example, and then just what it stirred up as far as interest from other people and how anxious they are to start the same thing. And I mean, so many things come from it. I mean, it's a real responsible way of taking care of the land and the farmer and the consumer. I mean, it's the best food you can get around, just even for the love that goes into it and just the whole atmosphere of where it comes from.
At the moment, CSA just leases this rather long strip, about 3 acres of land. I think potentially the whole farm could be taken up by CSA and made into an integral biodynamic organism. With animals, I would open up more beds, and I would try to, the next time I would open them up, not just in a long strip, but perhaps in a more artistic way. General principle, I think, is realizable, in many different places. It would never be identical to this. It's unlikely there would be the equivalent of a Berkshire village. Everybody's different, and every situation is different. But I see no reason why the general idea could not be realized in many locations. But each of them would have its own identity. Each would have its own particular character.
In the years to come, community-supported agriculture hopes to increase its membership, transfer the farmland to a community-owned land trust, and help encourage the development of similar projects.